I'm Dorothy Rowe, and the video you're about to watch is a clip from a live webinar. If you enjoy the content of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you. The trees said, this is someone who talks to the trees. Thank you for talking to the trees. I talk to the trees too. Now, all the beings of creation speak the language of perception and experience. It's so beautiful. And they all speak the language of compassion too. Okay, what does it say? The trees said that our connection with them is in the blood or circulatory system. I don't know where I'm going with this, but would we go into ourselves to connect more with our trees via the rhythm of the cranium fluids and exchanges of calcium, magnesium, day and night, trees, oxygen, carbon dioxide? Oh, that's a lovely question. I love it. I love it. Definitely, there are a lot of the systems in our bodies that are tree-like, right? And the circulatory system is one, the nervous system is another. Even like inside organs, there are forms and structures that have tree-like elements to them. Bones, like the trunk of a tree, the bones. When I look at the trees energetically, they appear as antennas or anchors to the cosmos. So when you look at a tree, you know, it's coming up like this out of the ground. There's actually, trees have a cord of light, just like our bodies have a cord of light, a meridian that runs through. And the meridians of the trees, the cord of light of the trees tends to, like with us, it's more like a single cord, and then it opens out to infinity, out through the crown of the head, and then it opens out in a kind of a tree-like form as the cord goes down like a root into the core of Mother Earth. And then from Mother Earth, her cords go out to the stars, planets, and local forms. And then from there, those forms, more cords go out to other levels of cosmic reality and so forth. So there is a kind of like an upside down tree. You could think of it like an upside down tree energy form with a cord of light. But with trees, it's the opposite. They have, their cord goes right down into the core of Mother Earth, just like ours does, but out the top, it diversifies. And when I look at a tree, it looks like they're cords of light coming from all the cosmic bodies directly into the crown of the tree. And the bigger the tree becomes, and the more kind of expansive and extensive its system of branches becomes, the greater portion of the totality of the universe it channels in through its body. That's what it looks like to me. So connecting ourselves with the trees comes through finding common ground. We find common ground, no pun intended, we find common ground, then our relationship with our cosmic body, and all that cosmos is part of our bodies. We think, oh, my body's just this big, this much is my body, but it's not. That's just a piece of our body. And our consciousness is as big as the universe, and the universe is the rest of our body. The trees are simple. A lot of times, even humans will reincarnate as trees because life was a real struggle on the last go around. If work was incredibly difficult and incredibly hard, and there was huge sacrifice and a deep, deep fatigue in the system, then often the soul will just take on a life as a tree. And then you can just go. You can move through that life as long as you are needing that extra rest, as long as you want to have that experience of being in the relative field and making some contributions to the collective well-being, but not have to engage too much, not be required, no demands, unless you've got a enthusiastic gardener. It's pruning you back. Oh, whatever. Unless you got planted by a telephone pole or something. But even then, there are reasons why it goes like that. As for the tree-like nature of our circulatory system, yes, I see what you're saying about the oxygen and the carbon dioxide and how the tree-like system in our bodies, the circulatory system, is interesting that it's taking in the oxygen and giving out the carbon dioxide. And then the trees, they're doing the opposite with their systems. And yet the form is extremely similar. So what I'm seeing from this question is that there could be a chemical relationship between the way oxygen and then the byproducts. Carbon dioxide is just like one of the byproducts that's released or purified out of the body through the circulatory system and through the what is it called, the cardio, also the breath through the respiratory system. The respiratory system also has tree-like shapes, doesn't it? Yes. Anyway, I kind of see where you're going with this, but disclaimer, I think I'm not enough of a scientist. Like if I'd maybe spent a little bit of Google search time, kind of looking into the details of oxygen and carbon dioxide and calcium and magnesium and all that, if I'd kind of spent a little time like understanding the chemistry of it, but I don't have a strong chemistry background. So as far as like, you know, specifics about the way those specific elements interface with our physiology, I'm not sure that I have enough personal knowledge to be able to take it really a lot further. Please forgive me. I mean, I could make a note to myself to look it up a little bit and maybe go into a little bit more detail as we're going forward, but we have a lot of great questions also. So I want to make sure I touch on everybody and I give where I can give, if that helps. And anyway, thank you for the question, because it's a deep question. And it's like the part of me wants to honor it. You know, I mean, if we're going to take it without the chemistry background, you know, I think my thought is, and going into the source of creation, asking being, you know, what do you want to do with this being? The answer is bringing in reverence. The compassion and reverence are coming together as a form. And the shift, an egoic shift, which allows each one of us as individuals to feel that kinship or union with all these forms, the trees as well, that the kinship can be felt, can be experienced directly in the heart energy center. So if you're in the presence of a tree, you will know, because we have that download of that, all the forms of compassion, that you will spontaneously know what is that precise flavor of compassion required to support whatever the tree needs. And absolutely, it can come out through the breath. It comes out through the breath, so that what we're looking at, yes, I'm understanding, getting a bit of a download myself. Thank you for this question. That the enhancing the coordination and the kinship with the trees and other plants too. There are a lot of plants that grow like that, right? What it does is it activates the flow of awareness. This comes also into some healing for better flow in our circulatory systems, but the flow of awareness to really deeply, in a discriminating way, understand the laws of nature kind of here in this midsection. If we're using my picture as the diagram, right, like the bubble diagram, we're looking at this midsection, because sometimes the source of creation has everything all worked out fine. And sometimes if you're working down here at the subtle level a lot, which we are, a lot of times this area of our physiologies and this area of our experience is very clear. It's very clear. It's very well worked out. But there'll be a blockage to the manifestation of intention somewhere between where the laws of nature reside and where the actual effect occurs at the surface. And the thing about our coordination with the trees and plants is that they provide a physical representation or a physical expression of how these laws of nature that reside down here at the source and in the gap between unmanifest and manifest, how they work their way out to the surface. And whatever is that area for each one of us, and particularly right now for our circulatory systems, particularly for balancing the way impurities tend to build up inside the circulatory system. Also, if the body has a proclivity towards creating blood clots. And also the other thing I'd like to look at here, these were the categories I was thinking of beforehand, blood chemistry, right? Because sometimes people's like their blood sugar is too high. You know, they can be, now of course, that's partly a byproduct of how the circulatory system's interfacing with the digestive system. But the blood does carry, the plasma in the blood does carry, as we mentioned yesterday, lots and lots of different types of chemicals and other neurochemicals and proteins and you name it, they're all, pretty much all the chemistry within the body will show up at some point or another in the blood. And so balance of that as well. And what I'm seeing is the balance of that blood chemistry is fundamental to the degree to which plaque builds up inside the arteries and veins. So the story of the balance of the soup in the body is more basic than the building up in the branches. So what is that saying? Well, if we just refer to the trees, we just refer to them, that they're saying that it's our leaves that pick up the photons from the universe, from the sun, but also from the stars. Photons come in, and it's from there the trees begin their, all the plants begin their digestive process. And it's at the interface between the photonic reality of our creation and the receptocytes on the trees, which are all the green bits, the green leaves and branches and pine needles and all those parts. This is the important spot where receptivity is required. So here we are offering, as our collective, our lovely collective, and all the healings that we've done today so far, we're offering this balance of stability and adaptability, and the ability to bring stability into the source of creation and adaptability into the source of creation is being offered as a download from our healing collective to the trees, to all the trees. We can just offer to all the trees on earth that in their green, in the junction point between their individual body and their universal body, their cosmic body, right there, that the adaptability and stability fit in so that as the photons are received into their physiologies, those photons are carry with them infinite potential to nourish and protect and provide the resources that the trees need. And especially for those trees, you know, have you ever driven along the median in like a huge, on a highway, and the road workers have carefully planted trees in the median, and the cars never end. It's rivers of cars going in both directions, right? And they're spewing out carbon monoxide, and all these trees are sitting there going, poor babies. So all these guys, the guys who live in really good places, the guys who were unfortunate to be planted near power lines, all the guys, just feeling it. The shift is down here it's right down there in the gap between the unmanifest and the manifest. And then the integration moves up. And as the shift down here starts to wend its way up into the material level of creation, we feel the integration. We feel the integration of totality entering into the field of all trees. super beautiful, super cool, fabulous woman who writes music to describe these experiences, and artists who paint paintings that show what that is like, and writers who put words together to recreate that experience for the reader, and so forth and so on. All of us, each from our own angles. Thank you all. This is such an incredibly brilliant group of highly educated, intelligent, amazing spiritual people. I am so grateful for our connection. Not that you have to. I'm not saying you have to on that one. I'm just saying that that is the type of thing. This is the level of intelligence and capability that we have in this group that would allow a healing like that to come through. Very powerful.